Welcome to the game room.
To play a game of Dead Man's Hand, we're going to need a few things. First of all, we need 2 gangs to play. We're going to use the starter box gangs, which are the Outlaws and the Lawmen. We're also going to need each of those teams' cards. The hearts for the Lawmen and the spades for the Outlaws. And we're also going to need our tokens. To keep this game simple, we're just going to have 3 characters per side. So we can go through our Lawmen, our Outlaws here. And we're going to take a boss, 2 dudes, and our special rules card. We'll tuck the rest of the cards away for another game. For the Lawmen, we're going to do the same thing. Inside this box, we have all the cards for the Lawmen, and we're going to grab the sheriff, 2 deputies, and the special rules card for them. The Outlaws use the spades cards. So if you go through all of your black cards that came with your starter box, you'll notice that there are one joker that has both clubs and spades on it. You have what we call the face cards, ace, king, queen, and jack of spades. There's also an ace, queen, king, and jack of clubs. The clubs are used for a different game. We're going to take those out, those 4 face cards. For smaller games, you may only use the spades cards and discard all of the clubs. For this game, we're just going to use all the black numbered cards and our 4 face cards. And the joker is used in both forces. We're going to do the same thing for the hearts. For the Lawmen, we have our joker, our 4 face cards. We're going to discard the diamonds. We'll use those another time. And we'll have a full deck of hearts and diamonds, all numbered. Last thing we need are some dice. A couple of D20s and a couple of D10s will work just fine. And our tokens. In the base game of Dead Man's Hand, you get cardboard counters. These are the MDF or wooden upgraded counters, but let's go over the counters real quick. There's a single step, double step, and triple step. Use those for marking your model's movement. There's single hit, double hit, and triple hits for when your characters start taking hits. Out of ammo tokens, and your 4-inch or 10-centimeter movement token. If you've printed out the cards available for Dead Man's Hand off the Facebook page, you'll notice that there are several things that you need to be aware of. First, the name of the character, what deck of cards they use, their stats, and what weapon they use, and at the bottom, what faction they belong to. Hits are how many hits they can take before they're taken out of action. Nerve is the value that they need to meet or beat whenever a nerve test is required. Shoot is the amount that they add to their shooting die roll in order to try to score a hit. Hand-to-hand, or HTH, is their bonus for hand-to-hand combat, and their rep is the value that they cost when building your force. A standard 7-character or 6-character gang is 21. Below that, in the bottom section, you'll see the weapons. The model may have 1 or 2 different weapons, sometimes pistols with something else, or just a repeater or a shotgun. And it'll tell you what the bonus is, how many shots it can take per turn, and what the ranges are. 0 to 4 inches, 4 to 8 inches, 8 to 12 inches for this particular pistol. If you are shooting at point blank, you get a +2 to your die roll to hit. Each gang has its own special rules. The Lawmen, I am the law. Any lawman in line of sight of the sheriff receives an additional +1 to nerve test. And Justice for All, the player may remove a single under fire marker at the end of each turn. Outlaws have their own special rules. Above snakes. Once per turn, a model may duck back as normal, but if nerve test is passed, doesn't burn its activation card. Cheatin'. Once per game, following reveal of initiative cards, may swap one card in hand with one of their initiative cards. We'll go over these when the time comes. At the start of a game of Dead Man's Hand, you're going to shuffle all your cards together. This includes all of your colors, plus your joker and your face cards. And then you're going to deal yourself 5 cards. This will be your starting hand. You will only ever replenish cards if you play a card in your turn. But you can play as many cards as you want during your turn, but you will only get to draw 1 card back. And you only get to draw if you've played a card. Each card has a number on it with the symbol and their different abilities. For example, Yellow Belly, play on an enemy model if it suffers an under fire and nerve test result from shooting. The nerve test is automatically failed. These cards can be played when they tell you to, and some of them are more faction specific, the face cards. Long Arm of the Law is for the Lawmen. Play on an opposing model within 20 centimeters after it declares its actions for the turn. It receives an under fire marker before it takes any actions. This may result in the model going out of action. You can see how these cards can become very helpful during the gameplay. Both players will take a hand of 5 cards. Games of Dead Man's Hands are played through scenarios, or acts, which take part in 3 separate acts. For our simple game here, we're just doing a simple 3 model per side battle on a 2-foot by 2-foot board. We have the sheriff's office, we have a bank, we have the blacksmith, and we have the general store. For our scenario, the gang boss and 2 of his dudes have come into town to raise a ruckus, and the sheriff and 2 deputies are out there to take care of and bring them to justice. With our models all set up, we are ready to begin. Okay, typical games of Dead Man's Hand are played out in scenes. There's generally 3 scenes to an entire scenario. For this simple learn to play, I've got a 2-foot by 2-foot board. We're just going to play a straight fight. I have Lawmen close to you. I have Outlaws on the opposite side of the board. There's a sheriff and 2 deputies against a boss and 2 dudes. The simple scenario is the Outlaws have invaded the town and the sheriff and his deputies are trying to defend it. So we're just going to keep it simple. The sheriff and the boss both are armed with a pistol. A deputy and a dude are armed with a repeater, and one on each side is armed with a shotgun. Just to keep it simple and fair, everybody's outfitted the same. They all have basically the same stats. So what you can see here is I have a sheriff and a deputy in front of the sheriff's office, and the other deputy lined up on the bank. What you may not be able to see is there's a dude back here behind the blacksmith, there's a boss, and a dude on top of the general store. So every turn, every round of Dead Man's Hand starts with determining initiative. Now initiative is important because whoever wins the initiative, if there are any ties, they get to decide who goes first. So knowing that, hey, we both drew a 7, I might want my guy who has a 7 on him to go before his guy that has a 7. So that'll all make sense here in just a moment. So the first thing you do is you both draw a card, and the red drew a 2 and the black drew a jack. Now, the initiative goes in order from ace down to joker. So what you're going to do with these first 2 cards is you're going to give these to one of your characters. So I'm going to give the 2 to this guy up here with the repeater, and we're going to give the jack to this guy up here with the repeater. Now every other model, every other character you have, gets a card face down. Initiative is unknown, and since we are going in an order of ace down to joker. The only two that I know, there's a 2 and there's a jack, but I don't know what the other 4 cards are. So once everybody has a card, you then flip them all over, and you now have your initiative order. And whoever won that initiative gets to determine who goes first. Now, we just happen to have a jack on the Outlaws and a jack on the Lawmen side. Well, since the Outlaws won the initiative, they will get to choose who goes first, this jack or that jack. So what they're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go through a round. We'll get some shooting. Don't know that we'll kill anybody off. Doubt it. Don't know that we'll get to hand this round. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so the Outlaws are going to decide, since everybody's pretty much out of range for anything at the moment since the first turn, they're going to make the Lawmen go first. So the Sheriff is going to have to go first. So we just remove that card off the board. These are just initiative cards. The cards that you have in your hand are the actual cards that you can actually play. That text matters. So he's going to do his 3 actions. Now, so whenever you activate a character, they get 3 actions. Actions are a move, aim, shoot, reload or change a weapon, and recover. A move is up to 10 centimeters or one of your movement sticks that came with your game, or with the rule book if you got it. Basically, it's 4 inches or 10 centimeters. All movement is the same for all the characters. They all move the same. You have to declare all 3 actions before you do any of them. If you do not, you can be called a dirty varmint by your opponent, and whatever action you are doing stops, and that guy's activation ends. So, for example, if I said, you know what, I'm going to move this guy here, and I didn't declare all 3 actions, and he yells, dirty varmint, his activation is over, and he's stuck right out here in the middle of the street. So make sure you declare all of your actions before you start, and that actually happens more often than you think it does. You can pre-measure once, up to 4 inches. So you can't pre-measure your shooting and say, oh, let's see, he is this far away. You can't do that. You can only pre-measure 1, and that's before you start your activations. So he's going to, let's see, being where he's at, and we would not normally do this if we were really playing the game, but we want to see, we want to see a gunfight here. He's going to do a move, and a shoot. So movement is front of the base to front of the base. So front of the base, we lay the stick down. He's going to move up to that point, and now he will complete his next move action, which will measure from the front up to here. We are going to leave him out here in the middle of the street, and now he's going to do his shoot action, and that shoot action is going to be against the boss. Alright, so for our shoot action, now we measure our distance. He is less than 1 stick, which is 4 inches. For a pistol, the point blank range is 0 to 4 inches. So he's going to take a shot at point blank range, which will give him a +2 for a pistol. So let's look at our shooting chart. And our shooting chart tells us if he made more than 2 or more moves. He did. So I'm going to mark him with the fact that he moved twice. He is at point blank range with a pistol, so he's at -1 for moving twice, +2 for his pistol, and that's it for shooting. Now we look at the target chart. The target did not move, he's not behind substantial cover, but he is a boss. So that, due to the fact that he's shooting at a boss, he's at a -1. So +2 for point blank range, -1 for moving, -1 for shooting at a boss. He's now at a 0. But when we look at the sheriff's card, his shoot value is a +1. So he has a net +1 to the die roll. It's a 20-sided die, and high is always best. So we're going to roll. We're going to roll the red one, and we get a 10 +1, makes it an 11. And you can't see that, but it is a 10, makes it an 11, and when we look at our result chart, 11 is an under fire marker. Okay? Under fire markers are not necessarily wounds, damage, anything like that. It's really more of a They're being shot at, they're getting scared, they're tired of being shot at. They could be taking damage. They could be taking, flesh wounds. They could be taking serious injuries. Don't really know, but once a model takes a certain number of damage, which is their hit statistic for the boss, it will be 5. As soon as he takes 5 of those, he's out of action. He's gone. Whether he's dead, injured, run off, don't know, doesn't matter in a one-off game. If you're playing a campaign, then it's really cool because after the game you get to roll and find out, what happened to him. Is he injured? Is he fine? Did he develop a yellow streak and run away? I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's really cool. So 3 activations. He is done standing out in the middle of the street like an idiot. But hey, it's fun. Going down our initiative chart, our next one is the Jack. Now this is this repeater up here. Now if I look from his point of view, where he's at, he cannot see the sheriff. So he is going to do a move, a shoot, and a shoot. Now he can shoot twice. Looking at the stat for the repeater on that on the Outlaws card, that dude's repeater will allow him to shoot under max shots 2 times. So he can shoot twice per turn. So he did declare he was going to do a move, so we're going to measure a move up to here, then down, and then over to about here. Now he does have a line of sight to the sheriff. And so now he's going to take 2 shoot actions against the sheriff. So again, 20-sided die. And as we go down our shoot chart, taking 2 move actions. Nope, he only took 1. He's at close range is 0 to 16 for a repeater. If you probably want to get a longer tape measure than your stick for measuring rifles, things like that. So it's well under 16 inches, not a big deal. So it is in close range, but there's no bonus. He did not aim because he's taking 2 shots. And so nothing else there, no under fire markers. So now when we look at the target chart, the target did move, and he gets a minus penalty for every move action he took. So he's at a -2. No cover. He is a boss, the sheriff, so that's a -3 for his shoot. So when we look at the dude's chart, his shoot skill is a 0. So it's a -3 to the die roll. We rolled a 17, -3 makes it a 14. A 14 is a hit. So the sheriff takes 1 hit, but it's not enough to force a nerve check. And so now he's going to take his second shot. Now his second shot, he's going to get an additional -1. When we look at that shoot chart again, second shot makes it a -1. So now he's at a -4 to the die roll. So we roll the d20, he gets a 4, takes it down to a 0, and he completely misses. Now, since it was not a natural 1, it's a 0 basically. But if he rolled a natural 1, he would be out of ammo. So anytime you shoot, you roll a natural 1 before modifications, you're out of ammo. And if you declared 3 shoots or however many, you're out of ammo, and basically your activation's done because you declared all your actions before you started. But if it's a 3 and it gets modified down to a 1, that's not out of ammo. Okay, so he's done. Now looking at the next one, it is the boss. And our sheriff is in a world of hurt because he's standing out in the middle of the street, and the boss is ticked because he just got shot. So our boss is going to declare 3 shoot actions. He is armed with a pistol. Pistols can shoot 3 times. He's going to declare 3 shoots. He has a +1 because he is a boss. He has a +2 because this is point blank range, making it a +3 total. -1 because he has a hit marker on him. -2 because the sheriff moved twice. Minus an additional 1 because he's shooting at a boss. So +3, -4, it's a net -1. So his first roll is going to be at a -1. Now, if I look at my shooting chart again real quick, you'll see when he takes his second shot, he's going to get a -1. When he takes a third shot, he's going to get a -2. So the first shot's going to be at a -1, second shot will be at a -2, the third shot will be at a -3. But there's always a chance to hit. So, first shot is a 3, -1 makes it a 2, total miss. Second shot is a 9 -2 makes it a 7, that's a miss. And a 20 -3 makes it a 17. That would have been great on the first one because that would have taken the sheriff out of action. But since that 20 drops to a 17, our sheriff takes his second hit, and now are under fire marker, and now he has to make a nerve check because anything 15 or higher forces a nerve check. Now, nerve is one of their stats. For the sheriff, it's 2+. This is basically whether or not they're gonna, they're getting more scared, whatever. They're getting scared, they're getting nervous, they're ready to flee. The sheriff's nerve is 2+. You add 2 more because he has 2 under fire markers on him. So now his nerve is a 4 or higher. You're going to roll a d10, and that was a 6. Sheriff is just fine. All right, next in our turn order is this dude down here with the 6. He is going to do a move, a shoot, and a shoot. Yes. He is armed with a shotgun, but he's going to run up here and get really close to the sheriff. And he's going to blast the sheriff with his shotgun 2 times. Now, at point blank range with a shotgun, firing single barrel, he gets +4. And he's going to shoot single barrel because he could shoot them both double barrel, he gets a +6. But with the +4, shooting twice, he doesn't end up out of ammo at the end of the turn. We're going to go with that. Okay, so he's going to shoot with his shotgun twice. He starts with a +4. He moved once, no big deal, doesn't matter. The sheriff moved twice, so that's going to be -2. And he's shooting at a boss, so that's a -3. So it's a +4. He's a dude, so he has no bonus for his shoot action. So it's a +4 for the shotgun, -3 because he's a boss and he moved twice. So total is a +1 to his shoot. We roll the d20, we get a 5, makes it a 6, and it's a miss. When we take our second shot, now it's going to be straight up because you get a -1 for taking your second shot. So now it's a straight up die roll. We get an 18. An 18 is a hit with an under fire marker. That +1 would have been quite handy right there. So that's going to put our third under fire marker on our sheriff, who's now regretting going out and standing in the middle of the street. And he's going to make another nerve check. This time, it's a 5 or better on that d10. +2 because of his nerve. 3 more because of that, so it's a 5. He needs a 5 or better on the d10. He rolls a 5. The sheriff is rock solid. Alright, so now we have this deputy down here who has a 3. He's going to go next. And he's just going to do 3 move actions because he needs to get up closer to help out the sheriff. So he's going to go 1 here, 1 here, and then he's going to duck back over here. Your move is up to the range of the stick. You do not have to move the full 4 inches, 10 centimeters. You can move anywhere up to that in your move action. So he's going to move over here into some cover and call his turn over. He gets marked with a 3. And now for our last deputy who has the 2. He is going to, knowing that he's not going to get too far up there, he can get to about here. He's going to do a move, shoot, shoot. So we will do this move to here. He declared 2 shoot actions. He has to declare who he's going to shoot first before he can measure it. He's got a repeater, so no matter who he shoots at, it's You know, he's going to have clear line of fire. He's going to have within range. He's going to shoot this guy up here. Nobody has cover right now. There's two types of cover. There is poor cover and there's substantial cover. Substantial cover is a big rock or something that covers 50% or more. Like you're shooting through a window, so you have the whole part of the wall. You're shooting from behind a door, and half of you is blocked. Poor cover is like this railing right here. That's not really giving him any cover. Doesn't really cover a whole lot. You can shoot through it. A water trough, anything like that, that's poor cover. You get nothing for that. Right now, where these guys are standing, there's no cover. So he's going to shoot at this guy for his first shoot action. He did move, so he gets marked with 1 here. His shoot skill is a 0. He is within 16 inches, so he's in close range. So if we go down our shoot chart, he did not take 2 shoot actions. He's not in point blank range with a pistol. He does not have any under fire markers. He's still taking his first shot, not his second. When we look at the target chart, the target did move once, so it's a -1, and that's it for that. So, -1, it's a -1 to the die roll. So we're going to roll the red die. He rolls, he gets a 15, makes it a 14, so he's going to take a hit, but a 14 does not force a nerve check. And now he's going to take his second hit, and he gets an additional -1 because it's the second hit. So now he's at a -2 to his die roll. We roll, we get a 20. Oh man, that's the third one that would have taken somebody out of action if it weren't for the negatives. -2 makes it an 18. So he has taken 2 hits, and he's a dude. So if he takes 4 hits, he's out of action. He has to make a nerve test. So his nerve is a 4+. 5, 6 because of the 2 hits. He needs a 6 or better. If he fails, he will take another under fire marker. He rolls a 3. He fails his nerve test. He's starting to quake in his boots up here. He takes 3. He now has 3 under fire markers. And that will end the round. Once everybody has gone, you remove all of the movement tokens. So we'll take all those off. Under fire and out of ammo all stay. The lawmen have and justice for all. The player may remove a single under fire marker at the end of each turn. So he's going to take one off the sheriff here. Because sheriff's taking a lot of hits there. Okay, now we start the next turn. You do not shuffle your decks until you have to have them. So unless you're running out of cards, which we're not, we still got lots here, you would not shuffle these. And you would still deal these till you're empty, and then you would shuffle. So I have under fire markers and there. Let's move on to the next turn. So the next turn we draw our initiative cards. I have a king on the black side. I have a 2 on the red side. We're going to give that king to that that dude right there. We're going to give this 2 to this deputy up here. Now we know that the outlaws have won the initiative. Now I deal cards face down, and I deal red cards face down. Now we reveal and hope that the sheriff goes a little sooner than... he will go before the boss, but not before... Wow. Alright, we're going to have... sheriff is in trouble. We have a king on him. We have a 9 here. Then we have a 9 here. They won the initiative, so I'm pretty sure he's going to go first. Then an 8. Then a 7, and then the 2. The lawmen are in trouble. Okay, let's start with this king. So he's going to go first. He is going to do a shoot, move. He's got a shotgun. His shoot is 0. But he is at point blank range with that shotgun. So he's going to get a +4. -1 because he's shooting at a boss. So now he gets a +3 for his first shot. His second shot, since it's an additional shot, it'll be at a +2. See what he can do with the sheriff here. So +3 on the first roll. That's an 8. Makes it an 11, which is an under fire marker. So that's going to take the sheriff back up to 3. Doesn't force a nerve check, but he is back to 3. Now he's going to take his second shot, which is a 10 +2, which will add another under fire marker to the sheriff, but does not force the nerve test. Alright, and he did, his last action was going to be a move, because he's not going to play stupid and continue to stay out here in the middle of the street. He's going to run back over here. He's not macho like the sheriff. Alright, the next player, the next going down initiative order, is a 9. There's a 9 with the Outlaws. There is a 9 with the Lawmen. But the Outlaws won the initiative. So this is why initiative is important. Because they're going to have this guy go first. He has a repeater. He has line of sight to the sheriff. So he is going to take a shoot, aim, shoot. So his first action is going to shoot the sheriff. He is well within close range, so it's not at long range for the repeater. So as we go down our shoot chart, he did not move. He doesn't matter about with pistol. He is at close range, no negative there. He does have 3 under fire markers on us. That's a -3 to the die roll. He's also shooting at a boss, which is a -4. His shoot stat is 0 because he's just a dude, so it's -4 to the die roll. But if he can get 1 more under fire marker on that sheriff, the sheriff is out of the game. Now, the sheriff, so the lawman side is going to play a card. He's going to play Dust in Your Eye. Play on an opposing model after it declares its actions for the turn. Any bonus for aiming is lost. So he took an aim action, and that aim would allow him to get a +1, which would offset the -1 for his second shot. He no longer gets that +1 because they just played Dust in Your Eye. If they had any other cards that would be beneficial right now, they could play them as well. So he's going to take his first shot. Doesn't change anything there, so he is at a -4 to the die roll. That 14 would have put on her fire marker, but at a -4, that brings it to a 10. That is a miss. So he's going to take his second shot. So he did an aim, but Dust in Your Eye negated the aiming bonus. So now he's at a -5. -3 for his under fire markers. -1 because he's shooting at a boss, so -4, and it's his second shot of the turn, making it a -5. So now he really has to roll at least a 16, or the sheriff will actually get to activate. He rolls a 17, -5, takes it to a 12, giving the sheriff his 5th under fire marker, which will take the sheriff out of action. Poor sheriff did not get to activate. His card goes away. The lawmen just saw their leader get gunned down in the middle of the street, and now they're either quaking in their boots or they're really ticked off. Let's find out. Next in the initiative order is the boss. Since the sheriff was just taken out, the boss is next with an 8. That boss is going to do a move, shoot, shoot. Now, again, keep in mind, I'm trying to show you how to play the game, so if you are really playing this, don't move out in the middle of the street. It's kind of stupid. But, you know, what the heck, you know? They're macho, they're outlaws, they're whatever. All right, now that he's got a good view with no cover in between him and his potential prey, he did a move, shoot, shoot. He's now going to take his 2 shots with his pistols. He is at point blank range with the pistol, so that is a +2. +3 because he's the boss and he has a +1 on his shoot, so that's +3. He only moved once, so there's no negative there. And no cover, nothing else, so it's a +3 to the die roll. -1 because he has 1 under fire marker, so it's only a +2. So we roll, we get a 14, makes it a 16. That's an under fire marker and a nerve check. Even though he has to take another shoot, you do the nerve check first. Because if, say, he had 3 hits on him and he fails the nerve check, that would give him his 4th one. He could turn around and shoot at somebody else with that. You don't have to declare who you're shooting at. You just have to declare what you were doing. Okay, so the deputy's nerve is a 4+. He has 1 under fire marker, making it a 5+. He rolls. He gets a 6. He is hardened by watching his friend and leader get gunned down in the middle of the street, and he's not going anywhere. So now the boss will take his 2nd shot, which would be at a -1, making it a +1. He gets +2 for point blank range, +3 because he's the boss, -1 for his under fire, -1 for the 2nd shot. So +1, gets a 6, makes it a 7. That's a failure. Now the lawmen finally get to activate, and that deputy is the next because he has the 7. He's going to shoot back at the boss. He's going to do definitely point blank range. He's going to do a shoot, move, move. And this will be fun because it'll show you something you haven't seen yet. He's going to shoot with both barrels of his shotgun. So he's going to get a +6. And since he hasn't moved yet, he doesn't get the move markers because he hasn't moved. So he has a +6. His stat is a 0, so he's still at a +6. He is shooting at a boss. That makes it a +5. That boss moved once, makes it a +4. So he has a +4 to his die roll. He has 1 under fire marker on him. That takes it down to a +3. Rolls the die. Makes that a 16. That's going to put a 2nd under fire marker and force a nerve check on the boss. So the boss's nerve is a 2+. 2 under fire markers make it a 4+. Roll the die. He gets a 9. The boss is like, I ain't going anywhere. He's now going to do a move and a move. Since he did unload with both barrels, he is now out of ammo. He is going to move and get into melee combat with the boss. Now, on a move action, you cannot move closer than 2 centimeters. If you are at 2 centimeters, you can then, with another move action, move in to melee combat. And with that, we are going to have a fist fight on our hands. Okay, hand-to-hand combat is done a little differently. Both models are going to roll a d10. So they're both going to roll a d10. And there's a few things that you need to take in mind here. So there is a +1 to for every under. So you're going to add a +1 to your die roll for every under fire marker the other model has. So he's going to add +2 to his die roll because he's got 2 under fire markers. He's going to get 1 because he has 1. If he's on higher ground, which includes jumping down from a higher point, he'd get a +1. So if he was like up here and he jumped down, he would get a +1, just like you see in the movies where they go, they drive down. He would get a +1 for that. And since he initiated the hand-to-hand, he'll get a +1. So the total to the die roll, total for the die roll is he's going to get a +3, +1 because he initiated, +2 more because he's got 2 under fire markers on his target. He's going to get a +1 because he's got 1 under fire marker. When we look at their cards, the deputy does not have any bonus for hand-to-hand. That's the HTH line. But the boss does. The boss has a +1. So the boss now has a +2 to his die roll. The deputy has a +3. We're going to roll both dice, and we're going to determine the difference between the two. So we roll. We have an 8 and a 7. Wow. Okay, nothing's happening here. His 8 plus 2, 1 because he's a boss, 1 for his kit, makes it a 10. His 7 plus 1 for initiating, plus the 2 there, makes for a 10. So, right now the fight is a draw, and they will continue to fight next turn. That was really kind of lame, but we'll see what happens in the next round. So, their activation is done, and we will have hand-to-hand in the next turn because I want to see how that resolves itself out. You can never have more than 2 models in hand-to-hand. It's not where you can like 3 or 4. No, it's just the 2 until they're done. Okay, our last model to activate is going to be our deputy here at the bank. So our deputy here at the bank is going to do a shoot, aim, shoot. Now, he's not going to shoot into hand-to-hand combat. He is going to shoot at this guy, see if he can get one more under fire marker on here and take him out. Especially since he knows that he was the one that took the sheriff down. So he's going to do a shoot, aim, shoot. He's got a repeater. He can't do 3 shoots because if you look at the repeater's max shots per turn, it's 2. So he's going to do a shoot, aim, shoot. Why that order? I could do an aim, shoot, shoot and get a +1 on the first, but then it's a -1 on his second shot. So instead, I'm going to do a shoot first. There's no modifiers. He didn't move. He didn't move. And if I go down the shoot chart, there's nothing else that applies that's going to impact. His target didn't move. He's not behind cover. He's not a boss. He's not obscured. So right now, it's an even shot. He's then going to aim, which will offset the -1 for the second shot. So it's going to be 2 shots at a straight-up die roll. Statistically, is that better or worse? Don't know, but that's what we're going with. His first shot is a 12. A 12 will put an under fire marker on him. That is his 4th. He is therefore out of action. And since he doesn't have any other targets, his other 2 actions, he could aim, but he doesn't have a shot on this guy down here because he can't see him. So his activation is over. So the other shot is just wasted. That ends the second turn. Let's go to the third turn and see if we can resolve this fight. Alright. So for the third turn, we flip over the first cards. We have an 8 and an 8. Now, being that I'm kind of playing by myself, to show you this, I would normally, if you have your opponent, you would both say 8s, and then you'd have to slap it down real quick. Being that I'm kind of playing by myself, and the Outlaws, it's kind of even. You know what? I'm going to roll a die. Odd, red goes first. Even, Outlaws go first. Well, guess what? Outlaws win the initiative again. We're going to give that 8 to this guy. We're going to give this 8 to this guy. And then we're going to put our other 2 cards there. We're going to flip those over. Ooh, he has a 5, but the boss has a 3. Okay. Alright, so the 8s are going to go first, and the Outlaw is going to force the Sheriff, or the Lawmen, to go first with their 8. So his 8 will have to go first. He does not have a shot at the Outlaw, which the Outlaw knew, which is why the Outlaw made him go first. So he's going to do a move. If he had any hits on him, now would be a good time to do a recover, because for each recover action you do, you can take hits off, which the Sheriff would have done, but he died first, or was taken out of action. Well, he's just going to do a move and get right up here to the edge and be done. Now, the opponent could have called a dirty varmint there because I only declared 1 action and then moved him, but I was only going to do 1 move anyway, and the other 2 actions were not going to do anything. So, I did forget to draw a card for this side because I spent 1. Okay, well, he's going to go next. And he's going to do 2 moves and a shoot. So he's going to move to here. He's then going to move to here. And he's going to shoot up. Since he came right up to the edge of the rail, he's going to shoot up. And see if he can put some damage on that deputy. Alright, so that's what we're looking at. We have a shotgun blast coming. We're going to do it both barrels, so that will take him out of action. He did move twice, so that's going to give him a -1. He moved once. Don't forget to mark their movements. So he's going to have a +4, +6 because it's both barrels. -1 for the double move. -1 because he moved once. So +4. Looking at his card, his shoot is a 0. So +4. 17 makes it a 21, which will take this deputy completely out of action. He is gone. Had no hits on him, but that hit was enough to take him out. Alright, we are back to our... Clear that out. We are back to our hand-to-hand. Now, in melee combat, they both still get their initiative cards, but they're both taking their action at the same time. The person who gets the +1 is whoever had the higher initiative. So he would go first. He gets the +1 for basically initiating the fight. So even though they're already in combat, since his initiative is higher, he gets a bonus for that. But both of these guys are acting at the same time because they are in melee combat. So again, he's at a +3, +1 because he had higher initiative, +2, +3, and he's at a +1 because he's the boss, +2. We roll the dice, and we get a 5 and a 2. Now, his 5 +3 makes this an 8. His 2 +2 makes that a 4. And now you go by the difference. So once we compare the result, the losing model will take 1 under fire marker for each point of difference. He takes 4 under fire markers. He is out of action because that takes him up to 6 and he can only take 5. This deputy has just taken the boss down. Okay, so that's the basics of the game. You get a chance to see how movement works, how shooting works. Again, had the sheriff been able to reactivate, he probably would have done 2 moves and a recovery. A recovery would have allowed him to remove 1 of those under fire markers off of him. He could have done 3 recoveries and taken 3 of them off, but he'd still be standing in the middle of the street to get shot at again. So you kind of get an idea. It's a very simple, straightforward game. The initiative takes a little getting used to, but once you've done it for a couple of turns, it flows and it makes really cool. The cards play into it quite a bit. Like I said, I'm playing by myself, so I wasn't really playing with the cards a whole lot. I just kind of threw a couple in so you see how they would work. And it's only a 20-sided die and a 10-sided die. So, you don't need handfuls of dice. The cards I made that you're seeing being used and are available for free. Thank you to Great Escape Games for allowing me to use their, their copyrighted material. I did IM them, and they gave me more information than I asked for when I said, hey, I'm making these cards. I think it'll make the game easier and easier, and I'm a big fan, so sorry, I can't talk. So anyway, the cards are available for download. There is another video in this playlist or during Dead Man's Hand Week, which I hope you're watching all these videos and enjoying them, where I show you how I cut the cards up, sleeve them, and you can do the same thing. Or you can take them professional. If you get them professionally done, somebody shoot me a picture. Right now I have 25 gangs out there, plus their cards, plus, it's just card boxes. There's a ton of stuff. Check out the Facebook page, Dead Man's Hand, or there's a link to it in this description down below. But that's it. I mean, you got to see melee combat, you got to see shooting, you got to see movement. That's the majority of this. We talked about cover. there are a few things like the duck back rule, which will allow you to, if somebody declares a shoot, you can do a duck back. And there's also a quick shot, which not really played with a whole lot. We just, we do a lot of this. We do a lot of stand-in fights. So anyway, I know what you're thinking. You want to know how this turns out. I want to know how this turns out. I got 2 guys with shotguns. Both of them are out of ammo. Let's go back to the table, play the 4th turn. Is the 4th turn? 5th turn, whatever it is, and see who wins this fight. Let's go take a look. Okay, last turn, both teams, or both gangs, went below 50%. So now they have to make a big nerve test. Both of them do. So a big nerve test is at the start of your turn. If you are ever less than 50% of your starting number of models, you must make a big nerve test. And the big nerve test is basically just a nerve check for each of these models. If you fail it, you bail and game is over. So red die for the Lawmen, black die for the Outlaws. They're basically the same. Their nerves are 4+, and we have a 10 and a 3. At this point, the Lawmen would flee the battlefield, and the Outlaws would win the day. But nobody wants to see that, so we're going to pretend they both passed. And now we're going to do our initiative. And the Lawmen get a 10, the Outlaws get the 5. Our one lonely deputy is going to go first. He's going to pre-measure. He is outside of point blank range, just barely. He has and that needs to go away. He has to do a reload to get rid of this out of ammo. He can do a move and then unload with both barrels. Or he could do 2 shoots, but he doesn't get the bonuses because he's not at point blank range. So, that's what he's going to do. He's going to do a reload, a move, and a shoot. So the reload will get rid of that. The move, he's going to move right up here. Can't get closer than 2 centimeters. And he's going to shoot with both barrels. So he has a +6. He did move, so that's just going to be one of those. Let me take that out of the way. And yeah. Alright, his shoot is a 0. His opponent has no cover. He's standing out in the open. He has a +6 because he's unloading with both barrels, which is going to take him out of ammo again. He did not move enough to have a problem, but he does have a -1 because he has an under fire mark, so he's at a +5. He rolls. +5 makes it a 20. The Outlaw is out of action, so regardless, the Outlaws have lost the game. The deputy has saved the town single-handedly, the only man left alive. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I got all the rules right. We've played this a few times. We've really been enjoying it. If you're asking about the buildings, these buildings are 3D printed. This is the one that came in the starter box. The blacksmith with the with the false buildings. These are all 3D printed. A friend of mine printed these out for me. The roofs do come off. They are. You can't get inside of them. I didn't do that, but you can. So I highly recommend that you get yourself a town. Before this, I was using ones that are 3D printed, which I think of Rio Grande from Fat Dragon. Didn't cost much. You print them out. You turn them into your own buildings. They were really cool. Like I said, these were 3D printed. They hold up better, and they were easy to paint. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Leave me a comment. Let me know, did I miss something? I probably missed something. Let me know what I missed. And if we need to make any corrections. But otherwise, I hope you've been enjoying Dead Man's Hand Week. Please give a like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Take care now.